Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Cammie is off. A stalking case involving a former Kewaunee County Sheriff's deputy and ex-girlfriend will go to trial. Eric Pishek is charged with stalking and disorderly conduct. He's also now charged with intentionally giving poison to an animal. The alleged victim told investigators she used to date Pishek back in 2018. In this First Alert update, Holly Brantley has more on what unfolded in court today.
Inside this Kewaunee County courtroom, heated discussion over a stalking case involving a retired sheriff's deputy.
I'm concerned here that there's no agreement between the state and Mr. Pishek.
Eric Pishek is charged with stalking, disorderly conduct, and animal poisoning. In court Friday, the debate all started over proposed other changes to the charges, including one which would outright dismiss or read in the stalking charge. The judge explained the difference would greatly impact sentencing.
There's a very big distinction when a crime is read in or when it's outright dismissed, when I sentence that individual. So that is a very significant difference between the two opinions.
Attorneys also discussed evidence regarding the accusation of animal poisoning.
There was a crime laboratory report dated February 28, 2023, which did have DNA inclusive of the defendant on the apples that were located by the horses involved here, and there was testing from an outside laboratory of the substance in those apples, and it was determined to be a poison.
Eventually, no agreement could be reached, the judge saying the current charges stand and he'd see everyone back in court.
I'm going back to the status of he's entered not guilty pleas to the charges and will proceed to trial.
Prosecutors say the alleged victim once moved in with Pishek, but they parted ways last year. Prosecutors say she asked him to stop contacting her, but Pishek began reaching out to her through the mail, and then the alleged victim started seeing him near her property. Pishek also allegedly sent letters to her describing his love for her, even sending letters to her friends and neighbors. I spoke with both Pishek and the alleged victim after court today. Both did not want to go on camera, but the alleged victim does tell me she is confident everything will come out in court. No trial date has been set. As for Pishek, the sheriff tells me he is retired from the department. In Kewaunee, Holly Brantley, Action 2 News.